Goofs, gaffs, gamers. Did we hit that clap?
Yeah, we did.
All right.
We're good.
All right. Real kite right now. Goofs, gaffs, gamers. You know I love to start out the pod with that. I don't know why. It never gets old. This is episode 74 of the Overkill Podcast. We are back, and we are not going to slack, baby. I am Iron Meta Frankie, and I'm here with...
Kirby DK10, baby.
Yes, he's always on it, dude. He's always ready for that.
We were quick with the intro this time. So
we were. Try not to spend as much time on that because it sucks. I kind of want to get started on a story we were talking about a little bit last week. It is about YouTube Lite. So I think we mentioned on the pod that YouTube was going to start adding ads into premium.
yes.
And I said I believe that's for a Lite premium subscription, and I couldn't seem to find any information on this very easily. But now they're on the official YouTube Premium page. They have their YouTube Premium, all YouTube, no interruptions. 1 month trial for $0. And then if you want the actual premium, it is $13.99 a month plus taxes, and that comes with ad-free videos, ad-free YouTube music, downloads, and background play. Now, you didn't hear it from me, but you can get all this from the Brave browser if that's something you want to do. But not only do they have such things, they have a Lite subscription, which for $8 a month, you get a most videos are ad-free for $7.99 with a little star, and the star says ads may appear on music content, shorts, and when you search or browse. Yes. I assume that means, like, if you're subbed to someone... Man, why are we getting all these pings? I gotta mute this for like an hour. I assume that means if you're subbed to someone, or if you go through your subscription page, click on their page, new videos, or you get recommended their videos, I assume you don't get ads, but it says you'll get ads on if you search for new videos, so I don't know quite how that works. But it seems like a bit of a rip-off. I almost said something else.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. I
don't know.
I think premium. So because I only watch one person now religiously, and I won't say who that is because that's for me to know. I would get premium if it came with a free join to someone's channel. So you know how like YouTube has the join button instead of like a sub button. If premium came with that, I'd probably be way more down for it, but not how it works. I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh, nothing. To me, this feels like just a different, a way for them to get money from people who don't want to pay as much. But honestly, I think it's worth it just to give them an extra $7 and get everything. I'm sorry, I guess it's extra $6 to give them every video ad free. Plus, if you do the Lite subscription, you can't play ad free Apple Music or YouTube Music, and you can't download videos and play them offline. You also don't get background play with that. So, in my opinion, it's not really worth it. Just pay an extra $6, bro. I don't know what to tell you. And I've never been YouTube Premium. I've never used YouTube Premium.
Not even for like a month?
I've never seen a use in it. I don't care. To me, the ads, like, they're annoying, sure. But they're like 5 seconds, and if not that, they're 15, which isn't that bad. Like, compared to TV, like traditional TV, 15 seconds is nothing. You get And like traditional TV, you get like a minute or 2 minutes of ads. So I don't know. I'm just kind of used to watching ads at this point. I don't care enough to.
I mean, you and I are very similar in
money.
that. Yeah. I know. Well, I got a free 3 months for buying something. I don't remember what. It was Discord was running a special where like if you bought the super special Nitro for like $12, you would get YouTube Premium for like 3 months for free or something. And so I've had it before that, but I had the real old YouTube Premium. So I had like the YouTube Premium when it first came out, and they used to have a student membership for
YouTube Red, right?
YouTube Red, and I had YouTube Red with my student discount like 10 years ago, where you could it was like $5.99, and it was basically everything that like comes with the full premium plan now. So I had to use that YouTube Red, and then I had my 3 months free. And I have to say, I mean, yeah, it was nice to not have ads. And I like to listen to YouTube while I'm in the shower, and there are these annoying ass AI story ads that I get where they're like 20-minute ads of just some shitty AI voice reading out like these cuck fantasy stories that I have to suffer through. I don't know why, but it's always like, Jeff's girlfriend watched on as Jeff got punched in the stomach by Chad or whatever, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And it uses like shitty AI art. Do you know the ones I'm talking about?
I get a lot of weird ones, and I've honestly thought about paying for YouTube Premium just to like not have all that weird stuff.
Man.
But at some points I've kind of almost thought, well, why don't I just stop using YouTube anyway? Just to me, like, that's kind of my thing. Is I could see it like if it was $5, sure, right? I would definitely be like a premium user right now. But to me, like, the fact that it's 14 is a little crazy. 14 a month is wild. You would have to watch a ton of YouTube, and basically it would have to be like your main media source, which I guess it is my main media source. I don't know. I don't think I use it that much.
Yours.
Or enough to want it.
Well, I'll tell you something that's really stupid. So, you know the join feature on YouTube? Well, the one streamer that I really like, she streams on Twitch too, but she does YouTube. And I join her channel or whatever, and it doesn't even get rid of ads on like streams. You still have to watch ads. Like, you still have to watch an ad before the stream starts. What the fuck?
It's really dumb. But the Twitch subs do that, right? They get rid of ads.
Yeah, but YouTube does not.
Oh.
Okay. I don't mind watching on Twitch. It's just with the recent... I don't know if we've covered much of it, but like with all the recent stuff going on Twitch, I kind of moved off of that website. I really don't sub to anyone. I use my Prime for my one streamer I watch, and that's about it. I stay subbed to a couple of the streamer friends I've made, or stay following, but other than that, I'm not subbed or anything. So, yeah. Just YouTube's made some wild decisions. I don't really care too much about premium, but I wanted to correct the record, and I think it's a ripoff to pay $8 to remove some ads. But maybe maybe I'm wrong. I really think if you don't have like Apple Music or something, YouTube Music's probably pretty good. But I don't use YouTube Music, I have Apple, so
that's kind of the thing. That's kind of the thing for me too, is like I pay, like, we pay for Apple Music, and to me like, if I get a different music service, like I have the Nintendo app, the Nintendo Music app, and in my opinion, I just like to listen to the music on YouTube anyway, because I think it's actually better quality than what they have on the app. And that's the thing, is like, to me, Apple Music is better for non-video game related music, but YouTube is better for video game music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or like, lo-fi and stuff. But yeah, I guess we can move on. I just kind of wanted to clear that up from last week.
Yeah, I think
and we got more
I want to
info.
cover. This is a topic that a couple people, I think about a year ago, it popped off, and I don't think we ever commented on it. We might have, but some streamers, I can't remember who it was, but they basically said that streaming was harder than a 9-to-5 job, and most of their fans kind of blew up on them, and I know a lot of streamers have commented on it, like Ninja and a couple others, but to me, we were kind of talking about it earlier on in the day, and I just wanted to talk about it on the pod. But my take on it is that there's different levels of stress, I would say. So like a 9-to-5, you obviously have to like drive there, or even if you work remote, you still have to spend the time, and you have set hours, right? If you're not there, the company is probably going to be mad. There are some companies that are more chill on that and allow you to work a little bit longer if you come in later, but I know for most people that isn't an option. And the biggest thing that I see with like streaming is most of the time, in general, you can you get to set your hours, which is nice, but also people say it's really stressful, but I don't see the stress in it. Like, as long as you don't pay attention to comments, you should be good, right?
Yeah, I mean, specifically streaming, I mean, that's part of the problem, I guess, is like, it kind of depends on what content you're talking about. I know we covered, like, if you make YouTube videos and you make, like, the long-form, hour-long documentaries, I think that is probably more respectable than if you're, like, a reactor. No offense to the reactors. And, the reactors that, like, react to something on Twitch and then just upload it all to YouTube. That's super-duper-duper lazy. But I guess the hardest part about streaming is just being, like, awake and there and entertaining enough all the time. Maybe that's what they're referencing. Very rarely do I think it's more stressful than, like, a real job. And also, you don't really have to deal with, like, any peers whenever you're streaming. I mean, there are other streamers if you want to do collabs and stuff, but it's not the same dynamic of, like, boss and employee or just other employees where you're forced to conform to safe for work, wholesome chungus behavior. And then on top of that, you have deadlines and a bunch of shit and 1,000 emails to deal with, so.
Yeah, I think this person kind of sums it up. It's easier in the fact that you have no coworkers. He says he streams only for 12 to 6 hours per week. And he doesn't have any, he doesn't have to report to anyone. He doesn't have to report to a manager or anything like that. There's no deadlines, no really promotion competition in terms of, like, you having to compete with your coworkers. And so, that I kind of agree with. And then he says the income is unpredictable, which is true. Although I think the income potential's more in streaming, obviously. And then he also says that the job doesn't end whenever you hit the stop streaming button, which sure is true. You have networking and stuff, and collaboration planning, community management, and I don't know. To me, like, that's always like, whenever people say, like, networking, I understand what they're saying, but to me, it's kind of like a broad term.
Yeah,
it's too broad. And it's like, really, how much of that time is, like, how long does it take you to, like, network? You have to, like, maybe text a couple people after you're done streaming.
Oh no, or maybe hang out on
And-
Discord and play games or something. I mean,
Yeah.
you know a lot of streamers just, since they already have a nice PC, they're like, fuck it. Like I'll just yap on Discord while I make connections and play games. I mean,
Yeah, I guess it could
sounds
be a
pretty
thing
easy.
too. I think it could be a thing too where they spend so much time on the computer that like it makes them depressed. Like I've done that before where like if you sit there and game for like 8 hours in a day, like by the end of it you're actually really depressed usually.
Yeah.
Because you haven't like gone outside, seen the sun, you haven't like gotten to like take joy in the simple moments. And I can kind of understand being locked inside streaming for like 8 hours a day could be very rough. But generally, the streamers that I watch, like Tyler One, he streams for like 8 hours, I think, for like 4 days, which is not a bad schedule. And then he takes like 3 days off. So like, and sometimes he even takes more. So like, that in my opinion is like such an easy job.
Oh yeah, for
compared to other things. Also, you don't have to break your back in streaming. That's nice too.
Tis true. Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of people that do hard labor, their bodies do not hold up quite as long, which is rough. Very rough. And I mean, I would like to say, I think streaming can be really stressful for some people. And even if you do think it is harder than, you know, a regular 9 to 5, if you're a streamer and you say this, no one's really going to feel bad for you. And that's just the facts. I mean, you know, it might be harder than a 9 to 5, but no one's going to care. You know, they just kind of tell you, get the fuck over it.
Yep.
Yeah. I would like to discuss, I guess, Mina the Hollower. This was a game we covered last week, and
Yes.
we downloaded the demo. And I actually
made by
played
the
it.
guys. Yeah, we played it. I played a bit of it. It's made by the guys who made Shovel Knight. It's their new game coming out this year. Yeah, I think it's really cute. For me, I wonder if there's gonna be a Switch 2 version of this. Because I feel like this would be a perfect game to like take on the go, and just have in your pocket. Because it's basically Zelda, you know, like old school 2D Zelda. Kind of Link's Awakening? Or the one that's on the Game Boy, that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I don't know. Yeah, I liked it. I don't know if it's like a great game, but I do think I fully agree it'd be great on the Steam Deck, and I think it would be great to just take with you and play anytime you want. Because I'm not gonna lie, going back and playing the original Zelda is really, really kind of a shit experience. Just to keep it a buck, in my opinion. I like this game a lot because it's like a Metroidvania with like top-down, that's done in like top-down Zelda format. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't know if it would be like my favorite game of all time, but I definitely had like fun. I know you didn't like it quite as much. There are some issues with like noticing where you can jump over certain objects or do certain actions, because they didn't really make some of the blocks very clear. Or the tiles very clear, but yeah, I don't know why didn't you like it as much?
Yeah, it was kind of like that. The textures, a lot of them kind of like blended in, and sometimes you didn't like understand where you're supposed to go, because I don't know, just the textures weren't very obvious, and I think that's just kind of what they're kind of going for, that where it's like supposed to be really old school, and so in that way they achieved their goal. But I think it's bad for gameplay, gameplay reasons. I will say I do think it is cool that I believe you can pick between a hammer, a like whip, and then a sword. And I believe the sword is kind of like in between the two, where it's kind of a little bit of range, but it's faster, and then the hammer is really slow, but you have a lot of range, and then the whip has a lot of range, but I think it's I think the thing with it is like you can either do a shorter attack or a longer attack, so you kind of can be a little bit in between the two, I guess.
A little bit cheeky.
I mean, it's cool.
Yeah.
It was just a demo. We'll have to see whenever the game comes out exactly what it all entails, but yeah, definitely gonna be a game we have on our radar.
I say it all the time that I'm gonna get a game and play it, and then I never do, so I'm not gonna promise that. But looks cool, looks awesome. Man, we're recording this late. All right. Fuck me.
Nice.
Oh, fuck me. All right.
Well,
Now move on.
Of the Switch 2 and portable gaming, this is coming at us from Game Rant. They had an article where they
see this.
They said that a rumor has come out that the Animal Crossing New Horizons, there'll be a sequel to this on the Switch 2. This comes as no surprise, as New Horizons is the second best-selling Switch game. So
Next to what, Mario Kart?
yeah, Mario Kart's number one, so it makes sense. They're gonna have Mario Kart and Animal Crossing be some of the first games that come out on it.
Very based.
I'm honestly surprised. I'm surprised they didn't have one as a launch title. I feel like an Animal Crossing game as a launch title would be really nice, but I don't think they've ever had one, actually. Ever. It's always come out later on, but regardless, it's gonna be another AC game, which I'm not opposed to. I think New Horizons still, if you have it, I think you should still play it over the new one. I just feel like they're not gonna I don't know. I feel like they're gonna mess it up somehow.
You think
and
so?
Honestly, I think so, because to me, New Horizons was a little bit of I think it's a little bit of a worse game than New Leaf was. And I thought New Leaf was the peak.
Yeah, New Leaf is probably the best Animal Crossing game to ever be released.
I think Horizons was like a notch down.
Yeah, probably like it's kind of like the decline. So, New Leaf had so much good content. It had like community events, and you could do a bunch of stuff with your DSs and everything. This new one's fine. To be honest, I mean, I don't know if I'll buy a new Animal Crossing. You think you're gonna get this?
No, the fact that you can play the Horizons is, in my opinion, you should just play that. Like, the fact that they made it backwards compatible, kind of, I don't know I wonder if that's gonna affect the sales of it, but I feel like it probably will.
I bet it will, yeah.
Because people are gonna be like, why do I need to buy this new one? We'll have to see what kind of features they add, obviously, but I think, like, features-wise, Horizon is better, but I think, like, overall gameplay-wise and just, like, feel, I think New Leaf was better. But again, it's kind of all speculation. Also, they're all subjective, but I completely lost my train of thought.
Wow.
Oh,
amazing.
New Horizons,
No,
I think. New Horizons, I remember this. I think it came out, though, at the perfect time. I think that's why it was so successful, during the pandemic, right at the start. Literally, like, 2 or 3 weeks after it started. Everyone was locked in. No games to play, really, or new games that were really worth it. And yeah, I mean that's why it was so successful.
Man, and I just remember, I just remember, man, I just remember playing this game, so much, being in the apartment at the time that I lived in, and I remember the girl I was dating bought a copy, and I remember I had like built up my town, and she would just join, and the online like sucked so fucking bad. She would literally just like join and walk around with me, and the online was fucking dog shit. Because it was just so boring. Like there was nothing to do, and if you were a second player, you basically had your controls as a second player were like fish. You couldn't dig. Yeah, you couldn't pick up anything. You just go around and look at your museum and twiddle your thumbs. So the multiplayer sucked, but like as far as everyone being forced inside and playing this game, it was very good for that because you kind of got to live out your fantasy of like building up your little house. If you're a scumfuck like me, you did the like bell or the stock glitch, the beat stock glitch or whatever, where you'd buy a bunch of them on a certain time. Yeah, you would buy a bunch of turnips. You would go to someone's island that had you would go on like Reddit or Discord, and you'd be like, yo, who has a hot island right now? I'll give you like a quarter of the profits or whatever, if you've got like the max sell rate. And you would go and you would sell all your turnips, and I paid off my house that way, and I still have like 1 million bells in the bank because of that. So, it was fun. I would say like the dialogue options and stuff are fine. They had a really cool feature where you could scan in like an amiibo card, and I have a character I like. Her name is Mint, and she was like a mint colored squirrel. And so I don't know what I did with her amiibo card. I might have thrown it away, to be honest with you. But you scan it in, and then you can have that villager like come and stay in the tent, and then you can recruit them to come live. So there were some cool features in there that I really liked that stood out. But other than that, it was your typical Animal Crossing game. Dig up fossils, hit trees, shake trees for fruit, sell stuff, fish. Just fucking waste time in this like, I don't know, 100 foot by 100 foot island or whatever it is. No, it's more than that, but mile by mile island, let's say that.
Yeah.
It looked good, and the memes were really funny. But other than that, I mean, I was probably bored with the game I'll give it 3 weeks, and that's like spread out over, like six months or so. I came back for like the Easter event and everything, but other than that, I mean, do I feel like I got $60 worth? Sure. Do I want to do it again? Not really. I'm kind of over it. Is that kind of how you're feeling?
Yeah, it's kind of how I feel. I got into New Horizons like here and there. I was kind of very like on and off about it. I never did any like the turnip stuff. I just like I like the grind of it, and I don't know. I thought about making a new save here because I lost my old one, so we'll have to see on that. But yeah, I guess other than that, you want to talk about Cyberpunk on the Switch?
Yes, I do. I do indeed. So yeah, I kind of went off on that one, huh?
Yeah. That's so good though. I liked it.
Yes. I just want to iterate. Yeah, I just want to iterate how Animal Crossing, how the new one was, how I felt. Very passionate. It's one of my favorite series, but I'm getting older, so I don't know. Cyberpunk. There is a website called mynintendonews.com. I have no idea who the fuck runs this. The guy's name that wrote the article is named Slicker. I have some respect because there appears to be some real comments down here at the bottom from real people. Here is what Slicker is claiming. He is saying Cyberpunk was the biggest third-party Nintendo Switch 2 game, and Sega was the third biggest publisher. He says the game business site has been a good resource. Oh, okay, the game business, they're the ones that do the podcast, in providing our readers with information. Here we go. 62% of Switch 2 physical game sales in the U.S. were from first-party games, excluding Mario Kart World Bundle. 48% of... Oh, we don't need to do the U.K. In the launch month for the Switch 1, 81% of the U.S. physical game sales were from first-party games. So what we're getting is a 20-ish% difference in first-party games. And probably his biggest claim... less first-party games. Probably his biggest claim is CD Projekt Cyberpunk 2027 or 2077 was the best-selling third-party game during the launch of the Switch 2. It had beat the launch of The Witcher 3 on the Switch 1, and yeah, I don't know. I'm a little surprised that Cyberpunk sold so well on the Switch. Do you think it's a matter of like people not having good enough PCs? Do you think it's a matter of the game finally being fixed? Do you think it's a matter of there's just not a lot going on with the Switch 2 right now? I mean, what do you think is doing this?
Yeah, I think what it honestly is I think it's kind of all three of those factors. Plus, Nintendo has a very good way of keeping their fans like isolated in a way. And what I mean by that is, for instance, I'll just speak from personal experience. I played the GameCube whenever I was growing up. I then played the Wii. I then, kind of experimented a little bit with Xbox, and I think maybe I played like a PlayStation at like school or something, or I don't know, at a friend's house. And then I kind of came back to the Wii U, and then after the Wii U, I was kind of burnt, and I was like, I'm not going to get a Switch. And then the Switch came out, and it was very explosive, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get one now. And then, the Switch 2, I've bought that now. So, like, Nintendo in a way, I've gotten a PC and stuff, and I've tried all different platforms. But there's just something special about Nintendo, and I think they keep their fans for a very long time. There are people who've started with the NES, and they're still playing to this day.
Can't stop. Addicted.
And I
Send help.
I think that's one thing where it's kind of like, Nintendo fans are getting exposed to this third-party game that has come out. And because of the Switch's Power Boost, or the second one's Power Boost, they've been able to run a lot of games that the first one would never have been able to. And I think it's that, but it's also Mario Kart World is the only first-party game out right now. Besides, obviously all the Switch 1 games, which most people have played by this point. And so the second game, like whenever I think of Switch 2 right now, I think of Mario Kart, and I think of Cyberpunk. And I think it's because of this, because like if you look at the best-selling games on the Switch, like if you go to like the Nintendo app, eShop, this game is like the second one. It's Mario Kart and then this game. And
so I guess it's true. If you do buy most
and
popular,
the thing too is it's also fixed. It's gotten updates throughout the years. And from what I understand, it actually runs really well on the Switch too. Like
it runs really well on my computer.
I think it hits 60 for the I think it hits 60 for the most part. Maybe a couple dips here and there. Or it might be 30, I'm not sure. Don't quote me on any of this, but I know it runs pretty smooth for whatever frame rate it is. Yeah, other than that, I kind of understand that. and I've thought about getting it. My biggest problem though is I'd rather just get it on PC though, because it's gonna look like way better, you know.
So I'm getting it runs at 30 FPS in quote unquote quality mode, both docked and handheld, and 40 in performance mode.
Oh, I see. So if you run it at like 1080p, it'll run at 40. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
I'm a little disappointed in that because I don't. Well, one, I have a PC that can run it, and two, I would probably get a Steam Deck if I really wanted to play something like this on the move. But you know, I'm sure it'll work for most people. Because I'm gonna be honest, most people that like get Switches are not like power users, are not like power. You know, it sounds really gay, but they're not like power gamers where they play a bunch of games or they play, you know, they play games that require a lot of power. You know, it sounds really gay, but it's true. It's true.
I get what you're saying. It's a lot of like really casual. No, I don't know if that. I don't mean to be mean, but yeah, it is like a lot more casual people probably buy it as sort of their like secondary. Basically, I want to play Nintendo games, and this is the only way to play them, so I'm gonna buy one. Right? That's kind of, and that's also another reason I think why Nintendo has a stranglehold, because they have so many exclusives, right? I know. I kind of wanted to talk about this a little bit, but I see this comment here. It's by JT on this article. It says, only physical Switch 2 games I've bought so far is Cyberpunk, and seeing the game key card or code in box is a complete turnoff. And to that, I have to say, have you not been playing the other consoles? I mean,
yeah, what have you
for
missed?
about
like
10 years, for almost 10 years, there's been data on the disc, sure, but there's not enough data there to play the whole game offline. You always have to download the game. Every time you insert a disc in any of the consoles from the past 10 years, you have to download the game. So
even some of the Switch games did that.
Yeah, basically like every game. I know people are like, oh, you know, you'll own nothing, you don't like it or whatever, which sure, but it's also been like that for a while. Okay, it's been like that for at least 10 years, where you don't technically own the game, you own the license to play that game.
Yes,
and that's a big difference. You don't own the physical media. And I mean, technically, even if you did own the physical media, you don't own it in as far as you can make copies of it, right? That's why they always had those government, you know, it's federal law and can't copy this or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
shit. I don't have anything else to add.
I mean, I understand
do too.
it. It's just, for me, the thing is I've kind of accepted that everything's going to be digital from now on. And I think that sucks, but
we lost the war.
If you want bigger and better games, I think you can't fit them on physical unless you want the cartridge to be gigantic.
Pretty much. It's just like what happened with disc. You know, well, people will want better and better graphics. They'll say, hey, you know, I want my games to look crispy, and I want them to have, 50 hours of content, and I want X, Y, and Z. Well, what comes along with that is that you better expect to either have digital or additional downloads that need to happen, and it's been like that with disc forever. So, not surprising at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
Let me see.
I guess we're good on that topic, huh?
Yeah, I think we really popped off there. And I think even Switch 1 games had that issue. I know it was with Doom, but I think there were a few first-party games where you had to... Well, I mean, it was an issue because there were times where you'd pop in the cartridge and it would do like a bunch of downloads. And I was like, okay. Yeah. What else? Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Oh,
Ace.
I wouldn't buy Cyberpunk 2077 on a Switch. I think that's stupid. 30 FPS is painful.
Yeah, I will say there is something kind of cool, and it does make me want to get it. And I think this will be the last thing I want to say, and then we'll move on. But you can, number one, you can use the Switch 2 Joy-Con as like a mouse, and then you can use the other Joy-Con joystick as like the movement stick, and so you can kind of have a configuration that, in my opinion, I think is the best, because you get the movement of a control stick, but then you also get the aiming of a mouse. And I know it's not very comfortable to use the Joy-Con as a mouse, but from what I've seen, it does work pretty well. And then the other thing is, if you want to, you can have it to where you use motion controls, and you like flick the Joy-Con to the side, and it'll make your guy reload his gun, or you'll like hold it up and he'll like holster his gun. You can like. You can basically use the motion controls as a way to, to control the game. It's cool, and I'm glad Nintendo still has that like quirkiness. And again, that's the only, like, none of the other platforms have that motion controls or anything like that. So it could be fun. Again, I don't know how much is that worth getting on the Switch. I don't know, but I think for me, I'd rather just have the performance of my PC. And it's not a game that I really would imagine would be fun to play on the go, because I like to play really like indie games and stuff on the go.
Short, quick experiences that you can stop and start.
Yeah, also,
I think is best.
Also, I think that game is probably going to drain the battery like instantly. It's going to be like 2 hours of gameplay.
Guaranteed. There's no way. And I'm going to tell you, as someone who's played Cyberpunk on my PC, man, at 30, it's going to suck. I'm just going to say it's going to suck. Yep. To me, at least.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll move on to some Overwatch 2 news. I know me and Meta were big in Overwatch 2 for quite a while. And then we've kind of fallen off the train. But this new season 17 is going to bring some 2 big changes to the game. Obviously, it's going to be, new cosmetics and all that, new battle pass and such. But it's also adding a limited time game mode. And this game mode takes place on 2 Flashpoint maps, Suravasa and New Junker City. And the maps have gotten upgrades. We don't know what that... I don't think we've been shown what that exactly means. Okay. Gotcha.
They're saying more alleyways to retreat through and buildings to use as cover, whatever that's supposed to mean.
And I believe every round of this game mode is going to have like different... different modifiers and different effects. And basically the players are allowed to... I think they're allowed to vote.
Ooh.
Yeah, okay, they're allowed to vote on which map to play before going in.
Okay.
And this map voting feature will apparently be in quick play as well as competitive, so that's nice. So now you won't have to play on as many bad maps, I guess. Although I think all the maps are pretty good, but whatever. Kind of a hot take.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Other than that, I don't think we've been shown any of the different abilities or different modifiers. I'm assuming it's going to be like, one can be like jump extra high or something. Like moon gravity, or I don't know.
I guess something interesting that'll come out of this, since they never added 6v6, I'm still bitter, is because you can start voting on maps, because you can vote between 2 maps like old Call of Duty, they're going to have data about which maps people actually like and which ones people fucking hate. So it might actually inspire them to give a shit about making good maps again. I don't know.
Yeah. That is actually something they say. That's cool. I actually like that. I would say one thing too is it would be nice to also have a random feature. I don't know if they're gonna have that, but I hate whenever games do that where it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna do map voting, and then it's like, oh, okay, you get two bad maps. You get two bad maps, and then it's like, well, now I gotta choose between which is less bad, instead of having like a random option, which I think is, I think it's better.
Pretty shite.
Yeah, I think that's been about it for the pod. Got to cover a lot. Got to yap a lot.
We did. Yeah, it was a good pod. Lots of stuff to yap about. Real long one this time. Kind of shocked.
Any closing thoughts?
Man.
I guess we didn't talk about Donkey Kong Bonanza. Do we want to talk about maybe a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I was planning on talking about it. Obviously, whenever we get it next month. But
I'm just saying that Direct came out and kind of showed us a lot. To me, it did. To me, it's like it's very similar to Mario Odyssey. Like you're able to customize how Donkey Kong looks, and you go through and you collect. It's a collectathon. It's your basic Nintendo game that they've made this game before. You know what I mean? It's just Donkey Kong's version of it.
I was going to say I'm a little disappointed that it looks so much like Odyssey. I mean, I kind of figured it would be like Odyssey given the trailer. I was really, really hoping something a little bit more akin to DK64. Obviously not in, game design or anything super drastic. But I was kind of hoping for like maybe they get their guns back. Maybe you get to play some other characters. Maybe it's a little bit more open worldy, but I think it's much more like Odyssey, where it's you spawn into a world, and then that world is kind of pseudo open world. I don't have too much to say about it other than I'm a little disappointed. But yeah, I will be getting it because it's a Donkey Kong game, and Donkey Kong's the GOAT, so it's all that matters.
Yeah, I will say they have added like different characters, but it's more I think they try to pack it into like the transformations instead. Where basically after beating one of the bosses of the games, you get to use their ability. And so like there's like a one where you turn into a zebra. There's Ostrich Bonanza where you turn into a bird and you can fly. I can't remember the other one. I think it's a ram. Like it allows you to like ram through walls or something. There's it's different abilities, and you have to like fill up your Bonanza meter. It's it's something where you get to at least have a little bit of different gameplay for you, just a bit. But yeah. I don't know. I think that's really about it for the pod boys.
That's about it. I got much more. I know we're gonna be yapping about Bonanza probably towards the end of July because I have to get a chance to play it.
Based.
And that's different than Kirby getting a chance to play it. My guy will play it immediately. So yeah, I guess that's it. I guess we'll see you next time.
Your boys, Kirby DK. Peace.